Africa, mayo Africa, mama baleimba, mululamba lwachima.
As we commemorate this important day in Africa, the Africa Freedom Day, we want to highlight the sport of basketball, and the person who will help us discuss this important topic is Johnny Zimba. He is a former basketball player. He played basketball from 1972 all the way up to 2000 and is now the programs manager at the Olympic Youth Development Center, OYDC, in Lusaka. So join us, follow us as we discuss this important topic. Johnny Zimba, we are privileged to have you as we celebrate the Africa Freedom Day. You've been there since time immemorial. Tell us, where did basketball in Zambia start from?
Basketball in Zambia was introduced with the coming of missionary teachers in the schools, and also some miners coming from Europe who had some basketball knowledge. So with the coming of those, they introduced the sport of basketball in the communities, in the schools, and hence the exposure of our locals to the sport of basketball. And initially it was confined to the line of rail. And from that, the Wazungus who were around, with the establishment of community centers, the sport was introduced. Miners and the miners' children also exposed to the sport, and it started to grow. In schools, the missionary teachers also introduced the sport of basketball in the various schools that they were involved in. So that was way back in the 50s. As we moved on, I think around the 60s, early 60s, late 50s, they introduced the leagues. That early, in fact, we had a local in Berit Sifukwe who really made it in basketball, and later, maybe I'll talk about it later, you know, he became the first Zambian to be in the national team. And through him, we've gotten to where we are now. But otherwise, as far as basketball is concerned, a lot of locals were involved, and the star names, the star players, athletes you have heard of, or you've heard of before, and you keep hearing of Samuel Zumunjovus, Moses Simwalas, Abraham Nkoles, the Piris from Nchanga Rangers. All those are former basketball players, because many people don't know. They're coming from a basketball background, and they made it at basketball, and they've moved on to football. They've even made it at football. Even Nyoka Sengele, the former General Secretary Faz, is a former basketball player.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, personally, when did you start playing basketball?
I started playing basketball, organized basketball, I would say, way back in 1972. Yeah, you know, my home was just next to a basketball court, so we spent a lot of time at the basketball court. So from 72, I got enlisted in a junior team, or in junior team, later selected the national team at age 16, I think, 16. Selected the national team, participated in the celebrations in Mozambique when Mozambique got their independence. I think I was the youngest player in that team. Yes, so that was way back in 75. Yeah, so I've been in basketball since that time, and I've seen a lot of developments along the way, and they've been involved with a lot of administrators and equally even players. Yes, so I've been involved in playing, in coaching, and from a distance, just assisting in the administrative aspect of the sport.
Okay. How popular can you say the game of basketball was then?
Popular it was, because before basketball was played in communities, community areas. And unlike now, the practice now, because of, I think we have limited the basketball courts, it appears. And the huge costs in terms of traveling and spending on teams and officials. We are playing basketball in centralized places, so that the teams and the officials don't spend on travel and accommodation. So before, teams, you know, the arrangement was like it is in basketball, where in soccer, where teams will go to Kitwe, play in Ghana, come back. So that was the arrangement even in basketball previously. And previously, we equally had the arrangements where we had the Midlands playing alone and the Copper Belt playing alone. Though initially it was all about the Copper Belt, with Lusaka teams also, like even Horn College, yes, involved in these leagues. Colleges were very active, then. Colleges like even Horn College and NOTEC in Indola, I think they still call it Northern Technical College, I think. Yeah, it used to be called the NOTEC. We equally had the ZIT, which is now CBU, yes, the Zambia Higher Institution name. Yes, so these colleges were very active in as far as the sport is concerned. Just like we had the Luansha, also the trade school that is in Luansha, they were also very active. Then there were mine teams, which were equally involved. So mine teams, each mine area had a team. In Kabwe, the railways had their own team. The army later had their own team, like in Ndola. We had the Kalewa barracks involved. The army, Zambia army, yes, involved as well. Kohima barracks had the team. So all these became very active, during that period, and we had a very good active league, which produced a lot of good players.
So in short, basketball started on the Copper Belt?
Yes, basketball started on the Copper Belt. I think I would say it had the organized basketball happening on the Copper Belt. And schools had their own activities happening, but schools also, because of not being strong, they were involved in league basketball, which was organized by later Zambia Basketball Association, which was mainly on the Copper Belt. Because we had schools like St. Francis in Malole, yes, who were part of the league and a very successful school. We had competing with club teams, and they came out champions in national championships. Imagine a school team coming out champions. It was something huge. Yes, so we had St. Francis, St. Clements participating in the national championships at one point.
Okay, and what would you say is the difference between basketball of then, in your days, and basketball now?
I would say basketball then, I think we had a lot of commitment from the players involved then, and we had a lot of support in terms of uniform and the transport, but there were no allowances at that time, but it was a question of commitment. So that commitment and the support from the sponsors like the mines was huge, because they ensured that you had the equipment you needed. It's important that we mention names like Bennett Simfukwe, Joseph Menzu, George Sikazwe. These names are of people or personalities that really supported the game of basketball very well, transformed from Northern Rhodesia, ensured that we continued with our first Zambian chairman in Bennett Simfukwe, who's now, I think he's in the UK. But he was our first local chairman, our first national team player, who supported us very well. And I am here because of him. And as far as basketball is concerned, he taught me a lot. He has taught a lot of us plenty. And through him, we have transformed to where we are. And through him, we have had changes at the executive level of chairman, and Brand Sengarumbe coming through, George Kamanga coming through, Mr. Zimba in Chingola also coming through, Donald Ngwira. Also, those are some of the prominent administrators we have had. Mr. Solungwe in Kabwe. So those have ensured that we go through the process of transformation and continuity in as far as basketball is concerned.
You started playing a long time ago, and in your playing days, people would like to know what position were you playing and what did you achieve in your playing career?
Well, I would say at club level, yes, we did achieve a lot. Yes, we used to play for Mufulira Original Magnets then, and now I think it's simply called Mufulira Magnets. I was a guard, and along, growing up with time, I think because I tended, it appeared like I was the tallest at some point later. As I moved on, though my strength was playing guard, but as I was mentoring now others, I was playing the role of either forward or again a point guard, which roles maybe I wasn't very much comfortable, playing it. But yes, I had a cup wins, individual awards in being recognized as the most valuable player. We had come up with national championships. At national level, yes, we didn't participate in a lot of competitions during my time. Yes, we were, registered to participate in some continental tournaments, but because of the issue of funding, we never made it most of the time. We would plan to go for the Olympics. By then, it looks like it used to be easy then to be taken for the Olympics, but somehow, for one reason or another, we never made it. So the funds were a problem. It's only Kabwe Cats in Zambia who really were supported by Zambia Railways very well when it came to continental competitions. Even when some of us came out as national champions, our sponsors could not support us to go out. So Kabwe Cats always made it to go for intercontinental competitions. And they really represented us very well. And they came up with a very good experience, which they shared with most of us locally.
We are still commemorating Africa Freedom Day, and on sport today we are featuring Johnny Zimba, who is former basketballer. He played basketball from 1972 up to 2000.
Africa, Mayo, Africa, Mama, Balemba.
Talking about accolades, what has Zambia achieved in the game of basketball?
Well, at continental level, like I think I mentioned of Bennett Mfukwe. He was one of the architects of basketball structures on the continent. So Bennett participated in the formation of a continental body. So he participated in their board meetings there, came up with the structures, and we had the continental body in Afaba later. So with that, it was a big contribution from our side. Locally, continentally again, I would say, yes, our participation at continental level, though we have participated in the Africa Games before, but we did not do well. Yes, it wasn't a good performance the time we were there, and we have not gone back to participate at continental level. We missed the opportunity last year to qualify. Last year, the other year, we thought we had qualified, but because of some politics in these confederations, we never made it. Yeah, but at the regional level, yes, we have done well. At regional level, regional youth level, we came out with, I think, a gold in under 20. I think way back in 2010 in Namibia. We came out with a gold. We've come up with also a silver in under 20 as well. Regionally with the girls. We've come out with a silver. Again, I think with the boys under 20, I think we had a very big upset here. When we hosted the under 16, we beat Angola, which was a very historical win. So that was a huge win. And that's how we have fared. At club level, yes, at club level we have participated in some regional qualifiers to go for the Intercontinental Games. There again, we have not made it to go continental. We are still struggling, but we are not very far from qualifying to the Continental Championships. It's only that sometimes we have missed out on these qualifiers simply because of funds, but we compete, we compare with the regional teams like in Zimbabwe and Mozambique. We are there. So in fact, had we participated in the qualifiers last year, we should have been at the Continental Championships.
Okay, what do you think should be done to reach the levels of Angola, the United States of America, for instance? What do you think should be done in this country to reach those levels?
Yes, I think it's about time we really became deliberate in our approach of talent identification is one, and also the way we work with our athletes. I think the sports science aspect comes into play as well. And with our colleagues, you find a full bench, bench of technical officials, psychologists, sports psychologists, what have you. So those will be there as part of the team, trying to work with the coaches, trying to work with the players, and ensuring that the athletes are really at their top level. So we need to move to a level where we are deliberate in talent identification, not just picking anybody as long as one steps on the basketball court. We can't compare in terms of size when we go out to play. We are dwarfed most of the time. So in this time around, as we develop our players from the under 12, under 15 levels, there we need to start looking at the size. Who are we looking at? What is the stature of these players? So that is one area we need to work on. Nutrition aspect. So it's a question, there's a problem we have had is the camping of players 2 days, 3 days before competition. That doesn't help. So especially that now we have facilities like the OIDC where you can now camp athletes for longer periods, like you have seen even in athletics. It's paying off. So yes, we need to find the good sponsors to support teams preparing for competitions, that they are in camp for longer periods. Then we shall come up with positive results. So talent identification, identifying the right players, right coaches, good supporting staff in as far as the nutrition aspect is concerned, the psychological aspect is concerned. We need all that kind of support to the technical team.
Now we are celebrating Africa Freedom Day. Do you think basketball, or maybe sport in general, helped in one way or another in leading to most African countries achieving their independence?
Yes, that has really helped. Like I mentioned earlier, in fact, we participated in Mozambique's celebrations. That is one way of really cementing relationships. We participated in All Africa Games before. That is also one way of cementing these relationships. So Mozambique, even in Zimbabwe, we've been there, they've been here. So that is one way of cementing these relationships. It's important that we really interact, we get together, we strengthen these relationships. So it does not only end at that nation team level, it filters down to the players. Because as players, as coaches, they exchange addresses, contacts, and they're communicating. We establish those friendships, and we continue to work as friends. So it goes a long way in establishing and insisting that we continue with those interactions and relationships. So locally, equally, it filters down to all across regions because we have players or athletes coming from different regions who make the national teams. We have had the opportunity to go to different areas and appreciate how our colleagues in certain areas, regions, live. And with that understanding, we better coexist in our daily lives.
Okay. Do you offer any pieces of advice to players of nowadays on how they should go about regarding the sport?
Thank you. Yes, a very important point. Yes, one, it's commitment. They need to really have a passion for the sport, the love for the sport, and also understand that sometimes it's not always that you have returns coming your way in terms of remuneration or those handsome allowances that they are most used to nowadays. We never had those allowances before. Yeah, but if the athletes can show the commitment, can show that they can perform, support or sponsorship will come their way. A lot of people will identify them, a lot of people will choose to support them because of their commitment, because of the skill that they are exhibiting. It may not be locally here. Somebody may sponsor them to go for studies outside using sport as a reason why they are being taken out for support. So commitment, discipline is really quite crucial.
If there's someone watching today, why should they join basketball? Why should they play basketball?
Oh, good question, tough question. Well, basketball is a sport that really is all-embracing. It's a sport that teaches discipline. It is a sport that excites the crowd apart from the the sportsmen themselves. It's good entertainment for the crowd, and it gives the opportunity to the athletes to really express their skills on a basketball court. It's a sport that can take them places. We have a few of our athletes who have gone out on the basketball scholarships. We have got athletes around who have earned or gotten jobs as a result of playing basketball. So the discipline that it teaches, that brings to the fore, goes a long way. So it's a sport that does not encourage its athletes not to treasure school. We always in basketball encourage that we take school or education first. So in basketball, they won't miss out. So the basketball, they can be young, they'll be supported in school, they'll be encouraged to continue with their school as they enjoy the game of basketball.
I asked you about when you started playing basketball, and I'll ask you this question again. When did you retire?
Retiring, I think I stepped off an active basketball court, playing actively in 2000. Yes, in 2000, that's when I said, okay, let me give way. But though I gave way, I felt still like continuing to play. Even now, I feel like I can still play. But definitely, I've got to give chance to the young ones to play. Because there's room, they need to have that space, because I don't need to take that space away from them. But otherwise, given opportunity, I do run around to play alongside these young boys and girls.
I wanted to say, was it that you were aging or you had finished?
No, it's just a question of giving chance really to others to enjoy the game of basketball. Yes, otherwise I can compete with them. I would replace them in certain positions because some are not as serious or as committed as they should be. Yes,
okay, so at the moment, what are you doing?
Oh, yes, I am still in basketball. Yes. Just like coaching, the assistants that I used to work with have taken over from me. They are now coaching the team I used to coach at NAPSA Hurricanes. So there's Mape Consolo, there's Noah Mavutwe. So those were my assistants. Now they are coaching the boys team, the girls team, and also the B team. But I am around them as their technical advisor.
At OIDC, what's your role at
Yes,
OIDC?
at OIDC, yes, I'm programs manager at OIDC, and I've been privileged really to take care or look after all the sports. I'm telling you, this is a very huge privilege that I've been given, because I have the opportunity now to influence my experience, to rub it off with the young athletes, developing, and ensuring that we develop athletes in the right way. And so with the support of the many coaches, the many administrators, we are trying to see that we can have future national team players coming from here, and also ensuring that the national team athletes themselves are given opportunity to utilize the facilities that are here, to camp here and utilize the various sporting facilities that we have here. Yeah, so it is my job that we see that, ensure that the coaches are trained, the administrators are equally given opportunity to be trained, the facilities here are maintained and availed to the developing athletes and to the senior athletes as well. So that is my role at the center.
Tell us, do you have a family and do you have anyone taking after you?
Yes, I'm married, children. I think it's a family of, is it 7 or 8? 7 or 8. Yes, unfortunately, nobody is taken after me. Yes, the son who was very much in basketball, but somehow along the way he strayed off. Yes, so he's not involved in basketball anymore. These others are not involved at all, and I didn't want really to be dragging them to the basketball courts. Yeah, but otherwise they have picked their own pastimes and they are not involved in basketball.
So earlier on you said basketball is about height and so forth, and I want to start playing basketball. Do I qualify?
But see how you look modern. Okay. No, you can qualify depending on your skill levels. Yeah, depending on your skill levels. But otherwise, a height like yours, no. We really wouldn't recommend that. But we won't turn you off the basketball courts. We'll still welcome you, but would look at taller players than you. Yeah, but nowadays, okay, what happens, as long as somebody comes to the basketball court, we welcome them. Okay, it's fine. But if we are targeting players to play at that national level, we need to be deliberate. We need to look at height. So when just look at you, okay, no, let me not waste time.
Okay, so I was talking to Johnny Zimba, former basketball player, at one point referee, and now coaching and now OIDC programs officer. As you can see, he's very tall.
Thank you very much.
So I'm been disqualified to play basketball. But I have learned a lot. Hope you learned a lot as much as I did. My name is Modern Sinkala. Keep watching ZNBC.
Africa,